Several years ago, my daughter was suffering from anorexia, and my wife and I didn't quite know what to do, as I guess most parents and friends do of people that suffer from this condition. And anyway, it was suggested we go and see this particular psychiatrist who is supposed to be an expert with anorexia. And it ended up being a very disappointing exercise because after 3 months of seeing the psychiatrist, my daughter was no better off. And the psychiatrist told us at the end of 3 months that she'd made her diagnosis, and that was that my daughter Elise was actually anorexic. Well, that surprised me because I'd already decided that several months before. And so I said to my wife, this is hopeless, and that I wanted to take Elise to see my EFT teacher, and because just to get a different opinion. And so I took Elise to see Adel, and Adel did a couple of sessions of biomagnetic healing with Elise. And it was quite extraordinary because within a couple of days, Elise started to be different. I could just see a difference in her energy. She was going to the fridge. She was just having a little bit to eat here and there. And after several days, she was going to the fridge more often, just having a piece of bread or a bit of butter and Vegemite or whatever she wanted to have. And so we had 3 sessions in all over a period of a week. And Elise was eating whatever she wanted to. It was amazing. And I wouldn't call it a balanced diet, but she was eating veggies and potatoes or chips and rice, and whereas previously she'd been eating very little. And Adel just worked on her energy system, which I didn't understand exactly what was happening. Elise certainly didn't have any idea what was happening. All I know is that we had a wonderful result. And we had already made a future appointment with the psychiatrist, and Elise said to me, well, we won't need to go because I'm feeling great. And I said, no, I think we'll go and see the psychiatrist and just finish off the visits as planned. And so when we arrived, Elise went in to see the psychiatrist and told her, I won't need to come anymore, I'm cured. So of course this confused the psychiatrist quite a bit, and she called me in and she said, well, what's the story? And I said, well, what did Elise tell you? And she said, well, she reckons she's cured. And I said, well, she is eating. And so she said, what's happened? And I said, well, I took her to a lady I know, and she did some work with Elise, and she's just started eating. And the psychiatrist then said, well, what did she do? And I said, well, I'm not exactly sure. I think it's called something like biomagnetic healing. And then I thought the psychiatrist would have inquired a little bit more, but she didn't. She just said, oh, well, as long as Elise is feeling better, that's the main thing. And I thought an educated woman would have said, tell me more about this biomagnetic healing. How do I find out about it? Because obviously she didn't have the answers to anorexia herself, but obviously she was a psychiatrist. So I would just suggest to people that if your child or yourself or anyone you know is having trouble with eating disorders, to give this biomagnetic healing a try. What have you got to lose? The story I'm telling you about was over 2 years ago, and Elise has just never looked back. She's just she's eating, and she's happy, and she's well. And I don't know exactly what the therapy involved. It doesn't really matter. She's eating. And it's something that the normal medical practitioners were not able to help her with. So take it from a father who worries very much about his daughter when she's 15 and having these problems and getting thinner and thinner. It was just a tremendous blessing in our lives that after 3 sessions, she's back eating normally. So I just wanted to tell you that little story, and I hope it'll be helpful for you. Thank you. It was most interesting after the psychiatrist had told us that she had done her diagnosis and that Elise had anorexia. She then suggested that for future treatment, she would suggest that Elise work under her as a psychiatrist. She would employ a dietitian and a paediatrician and also the local doctor. So I thought, well, hang on, that's 4 people here. And 1 daughter to 4 professionals who have been hopeless to this point in time. My thinking as a father was, if Elise was not eating, what is the point of employing a dietitian? Because a dietitian can help you with diet, but they can't help you if you don't eat. So to me, it was just completely out of the question that we'd involve all these people. And I thought, before we go any further, I'll take Elise down to see Adel and see what she can do with her. And that was a wonderful result that we had. And so I'd encourage you to try Biomagnetic Healing and see what it can do for you or your loved ones if they're in the same situation as my daughter. Thank you.